Do you have a need for a fence charging system on your dry lot, out on your pasture, or somewhere on your homestead? We've got the answer for you. Stay tuned to find out more. Hey everyone, it's Tim from Linessa Farms, Specialty in Heirloom Livestock. Thanks for joining us again today. So today we are going to take some time to talk to you about our fence charging setup that we have. This is a hybrid system that you can do at home. This is the cheapest way that we've found to do it. And without further delay, let's head out to the pasture and take a look. So if you've watched our videos before, you know that we have a video that's just about tips and tricks that we use with our electric fence systems. If you haven't seen that, you can check that out right here. Now what this is a hybrid system that I've made with various parts. Now, in the past, I told you that I really liked using a fence charger that worked on a deep cell battery as opposed to the solar panel. And the reason for that is during the wintertime here, we can go for what seems like a month at a time with very little sunlight. It's always cloudy. Sometimes we run our animals in trees and it just doesn't work for us. So I really don't like solar only chargers. The other thing is when you look at the price of the solar only chargers for the amount of joules that you get, I see some real hangups there. We really like our high joule output, especially with temporary fencing like this and things that are gonna have a high weed burden on them. Joules, if you think of joules without getting in the deep weeds too much, think of it as the amount of pressure that pushes that power through the line. Unfortunately, with a lot of the solar chargers, what you'll find is they just don't have a lot of joules and there's not a lot of pressure behind them to push that power through the line. So even though it may say it has a lot of voltage, it may not have the oomph that it needs to push it. So that's where we like our DC chargers that run off of deep cycle batteries. It's kind of the best of both worlds. You can get a deep cycle battery, you can hook up your charger to it, and it will actually push more joules. We use a SpeedRite 3000. That pushes about 3 joules and it pushes plenty of voltage. The SpeedRite versions push about the number of joules equivalent to the number in the design model. So a 3000 is going to push about 3 joules, 4000 is going to push 4, a 6000 is going to push 6, 9000 is going to push 9, so on and so forth. The thing that I like about the SpeedRite charger is it comes with a hookup for AC, for plugging it into the wall, or for DC, that is using it with a deep cycle battery. Now, Premier sells a charger that works pretty good, and it's the Premier House brand. The problem is that you have to pay extra if you want to get the AC or the DC, and so you would have to buy multiple different kits. We like this because it comes all in one. Now, what's the deal with the solar panel? Well, the solar panel, if you buy something that'll work off of deep cycle batteries, this is really simple. You can pick this up on Amazon for less than $200 or right about $200, and it's going to give you the solar panel. It's going to give you all the connections, all the wires, the computer, everything that you need. So if you come over here really quick and take a look, and you're probably going to pick up some wind noise on this. It is super windy out today, but basically I've got an old pallet that I just attached this 100-watt solar panel to, and actually I could connect multiple solar panels, and I've just got it wired up back there, and you can see I've got a nice portable sawhorse, and I just lean this up against the sawhorse, and I angle it towards the sun, and you know what, it's not perfect, but it works pretty darn good. Inside my box here, what you're going to see is a couple different components. Now normally, what you would end up with is you would end up with your SpeedRite charging system. I'm gonna turn this off so I don't shock myself. So you'd end up with your SpeedRite charging system right here. And on the back, it's got different plugins, or excuse me, on the side, it's got different plugins where you can put in for AC or DC. In this case, the SpeedRite attaches to my battery. I got positive and negative on my battery. And then I've got my ground and my positive that come off of the charger. My positive goes to my fence. My ground goes to my ground rod, and that's it. Also hooked up to my battery is my solar charger. Now this computer, this inverter comes with the solar panel. So you get the solar panel, all the cables, you get the hookups that go to the battery and the hookups that go to the solar panel. And so while the SpeedRite charging system itself is constantly charging this fence and putting out voltage to this fence, the solar panel is also charging up this battery. So if you don't have a solar panel, what you would have to have is you would have to have 2 deep cycle batteries that you would maybe once a week, we found that it works about for a week, we would take it off the charger and we would replace it. And then we would take the other battery up to the barn, put it on a trickle charger, and then every week we would swap it out. What we found with the solar charging controller and panel is that it keeps charging this battery enough that we don't ever have to swap it out. It's super easy to use. It handles more than enough of what you would need. It's got indication lights on here that show you what it's doing. I can just flip right into my book here really quickly and it'll show me what the lights on it mean. On my battery indicator, I've got a flashing green light, slow flashing green light, and on my PV indicator, which is right here, I've got a slow flashing green light. Battery is in float charge. So what that means is this battery is completely fully charged and it's just floating right now. It's just barely charging it to keep it charged. Most of the time that I come out here, I find that it is fully charged. This is a 100-watt panel. It puts out more than enough power. I could technically run multiple chargers off of it if I wanted to. So that is the benefit of that. The SpeedRite charger, I like it. I have heard various things about the SpeedRite charger from people. Some people say they're junk. They don't like them. We have had this charger here for over 3 years running in nonstop, and we have never had any problem with it. As a matter of fact, I'm able to run it on fast mode all the time because this battery stays so well charged that I can just run it on fast all the time. And the output is really good. And I'll show you that here in just a second. We'll get our tester and I'll show you what it's putting out. All right, so just to see what our output is right now coming off of the charger, I've got 9.9 thousand volts coming off the charger. That is basically the highest it'll go. So I've actually got more volts than that coming off of it, but that's what it's reading. And this clip just clips right on there and it goes. Now, if I want to see what, now here's where you're going to see the drop. So when I put this on here, what you're going to see is it's only putting out, it only says it's putting out 5 to 5.4 volts. So we're putting out about 5,000, 5.3 thousand. Now, if you look over here, you can see I've got a monster weed load that's actually on this fence. If we walk over here and look together, you'll see. So we want to give a special shout out to our friends on Patreon that help support our channel and keep us going. If you would like to support us on Patreon, like our friends Abby or Brian, you can check out the link below. It will take you to our Patreon site. It will show you everything there is to know, and it will give you a couple extra special perks along the way. So, you know, we went from 9.9 thousand volts to then the actual fence is pushing about 5,000, 5,500. Well, the part of the reason for that is simple. If you come over here and you look at these weeds. Like, look at how much weed burden I actually have on this fence. And if you look down the windrow here, you can see how much of a weed burden I have. So we've got a huge weed burden on this fence, and this fence is still putting out 5,500 volts. So what's going on with that? Well, that's where those joules come into play. If we were pushing a typical solar charger that maybe only had like 1 joule, less than 1 joule, 1.5 joules, you would see that it would just take the life right out of it, and it wouldn't be able to push that through the fence. So that's why you really want to pay attention to those joules. The next time you go to the big box store, take a look at those little solar chargers and look at what the joule output is. A lot of times it's 0 point something. So it's a very, very small amount. So that's my idea for you. This is what we found works best for us. I'm going to include everything you need in the description below. It is very, very simple, very, very simple to figure out. You're essentially going to need a deep cycle battery. You're going to need the fence charging system that'll work off of DC power that'll hook up to that, and then the solar panel setup, which we're going to give you the link to that you can find on Amazon. You can connect that solar panel however you like. In this case, we just attached it to a pallet and we are good to go. During the winter time, if you find that you don't have your animals on rotational grazing and you don't necessarily need this, it's as simple as just bring this up to your barn, put it out, use it to charge your batteries in the barn, things like that, just odds and ends if you don't want to leave it sit. If you don't mind leaving it sit, then you can just let it go and put it out in the spring. With the kit that you get from Amazon, you can actually set up 4 of those panels to charge. So 400 watts total of panel, and that charging system that it comes with will handle it. These panels are really rugged. I am really, really surprised. We've had some windstorms that have come and literally flipped this over on the gravel, knocked it over, landed right on its face, things like that. We have not had a single problem with it. These things really take a beating, and you know, it's just super easy. So let's head back up to the barn. I'm Tim from Linessa Farms, specialty in heirloom livestock. Thanks for joining us again today, and we look forward to seeing you again next time. So I just want to take a minute to give you a little bonus footage. This is Mavis. Mavis is our Great Pyrenees, and she just had 9 babies, and they are all doing super great. So I just thought it'd be a little fun thing to add in to the video. If you're interested in Great Pyrenees puppy, let us know. We raise them, and we have multiple friends that raise them as well. They make great livestock guardian dogs, and I have a feeling we're going to be having a video coming up about this very soon.